being free to go where you liked, run around, play outside in the road.
Yeah.
Not many cars. Knew everybody in the village, more or less.
Yeah. Well, what I enjoyed about growing up in Ipplepen was the freedom you had to go out on the farms, in the land. You could cycle anywhere. Safety wasn't a thing that was even considered then. We were ever so lucky to have the common, all in common, that we could go and play whatever, build camps and generally range around as boys do.
And girls, we used to go out there as well. The girls used to walk out there and just play.
Yeah.
Like coming from school and you'd go out with your friends and you wouldn't come back again till perhaps quite late. And I used to play a lot in the fields. That was a big thing. We used to just be able to go in all the fields, and we didn't have, you know, all the games that kids have now, so you just used to go out and enjoy yourself. And I remember when it was snowing one year, where it was really heavy snow, I can't remember what year it was, but we'd go to Dornan, the field up at Dornan where you've got the big dip, and that was it. All the kids were there, just going down this big dip and what have you. And you just did it all the time, and you just used to walk around the village, and that was our fun, was walking around the village, really.
Things about growing up in Ipplepen were was the freedom. I was allowed to go anywhere this side of the main road without telling my parents. The other thing was, my best friend was Colin Clark, and his grandfather was a signalman at Dayton Bank, and as long as I told my parents, my mum would pack up sandwiches and would go down the bank all day, playing in the quarries and on the railway wagons and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a good time.
In those days we could make what was called a trolley, which is a box on wheels, and we could sit on the box and go down through the village and steer it with our string, you know, and then we could take home wood that we found for the fire. And you could do that quite safely because there was very little traffic anyway. Yeah.
The general community spirit and the friendships that
yeah, the fact that like everybody knows each other, like everybody in the village goes to the same school and you grow up together, go through preschool, primary school.
The sense of community is really nice.
My godfather used to own the Wellington, so my mum used to work there as a barmaid, so I spent quite a lot of time like running around the rooms upstairs. But I also used to play the piano for the guests, because they used to have people stay at the inn, because it was a proper inn then and there was rooms and what have you, and they used to have the piano in the lounge, and I used to play chopsticks and stuff, I think permanently for about an hour at a time, just one tune, and they used to think it was great. But I think I was probably about 6 then, and so that was really good. And when the pub was closed, I used to play pool all the time.
Then I had started working at Newton, and one day the girls asked me to go back and meet them at Baker's Park for tennis, so I cycled home and changed into my tennis dress, and I'd got my racket and a bag of balls and got my bike, and with the same the siren went off, and Dad heard, you know, there was some bangs in Newton Way, and he said, "Go on, quick!" Mum and I and Marion were pushed down in this muddy shelter.
That's when Newton Station was bombed, wasn't it?
That's right. And then when I went to work the next day, all the windows that I was dressing were all blown out. Nothing in the front left at all, and we had to dress them every day, and threw things in the back of the windows and take it in again at night because it was all open to the world.
No one stole anything?
No one stole anything.
Do you remember?
It really stuck in my mind, and you're probably going to say the same.
No sex, mind.
Was when we had VE Day, and we had that bonfire in Roddy Common, and the excitement that was going to happen, and the boys would take wood and anything on their trolleys, and the girls would go out with them, taking what you could to build this bonfire for, I don't know for how long. Huge it was.
Yeah.
And then all the village seemed to go out there on that night. It was an exciting night it was. Everybody was buoyant and fun. But I think someone lit it before it should have been lit.
That was the plan. The important people in the village.
I think Miss Henley was going to lighted a dark fire or
planned
something.
to control this and to light it, you know, with a big ceremony. But us boys weren't going to have any of that. We just lit it.
I don't know who did it, but it started before it should have.
Yeah, it was a great evening.
But always forgiven.
Yeah.
It was lovely, and all singing and lovely.
VE Day in primary school, when we had lots of the like OAPs in the village come and we all like celebrated together, and they told us their stories and we got to listen and learn from them.
Yeah, and also when ages ago we did the beating of the bounds, I think it was 8 years ago, and I was only young then, but I still remember just the whole kind of village just walking together as a group.
And the vicar told us not to go down through the main street one Wednesday afternoon. I think it was in the summer, because some lorry had gone into Danish bakery. I always remember it was a Wednesday afternoon because I couldn't go to Ernie Medlin's to pick up my weekly comic.
One day I met Mrs. Ted Crimp, who lived opposite, in the lunch hour. I was up the town, and she said, she said, there's been some planes over Ipplepen today, machine gunning. She said, I think they've hit your place, but I haven't seen your mum since. I was frantic, I thought, because we hadn't got the phone in those days. And I got an idea, Mrs. Cleese let me go home a bit early, an earlier bus to come home and see. And Mum said, she said, we're very lucky because it came through our bedroom, didn't it?
It did. I remember,
by your bed, and
right through the ceiling and out the other side.
Yes, and Mum had just come down from making the beds, and Marion was with her, and it was just about came through the roof where she would have been standing, you know, and she said, I got down the bottom of the stairs, I pushed Marion on the ground and laid on her. She said,
I remember she pushed me down.
And yes, and then some of the trees had got holes in, and a branch had been blown off some. I think they thought it was, people thought that they thought it was the white headstones were at Denby Camp, and they were being chased off from some Exeter, or some were chased off, and they saw this, and yes, they just let fire there, and that was one of my earliest memories.